Hi everybody, I am Bucket. Thank you for watching. I decided to create a YouTube channel to kind of document everything that I have going on right now. That and because I'm bored with the same old thing day in and day out. I go to work in the morning, I work until 5 o'clock, have an hour drive home, then I have to clean the house, play with the puppy, cook, eat, relax. It doesn't really give me a lot of fulfillment, so I want to do something that seems fun, and I'm going to give this a try. I do a lot of reading, and I play some video games, and do some woodworking projects and other things around the house, but it's just I'm not sharing it with anybody, and I want to share it with people. So this is the idea behind the channel. So to start off, I received news last week that they're wanting to sell the house that I'm renting. So I figured I had a couple weeks before they started doing all that process. But if you look over my shoulder there, you'll see that nice little for sale sign. So they've already come, they've taken pictures of my house with all of my stuff in it. So all of my electronics, my motorcycle, everything. And I'm not quite comfortable with that. I don't want a lot of people seeing this house, how it's currently set up, because I do have quite a bit of stuff. Thankfully, I do have security cameras around the house and alarms, so if a door is open whenever I'm away, it immediately pings my phone. But still, it's the whole principle behind it. I would rather have more time to prepare and get some things put away before I'm thrown to the wolves. I really have about 45 days, which seems like a lot of time, to pack up and get out. But really, if I've been through this before and trying to move in a short amount of time, it's not a lot of time. When you think about, and anybody who moves frequently or has moved frequently can tell you this, when you think about having to put down first and last month's rent, plus deposits for utilities on all these new places, because they don't just easily carry over, they don't just change the address where you're going to be, you have to deposit it. You have to cut off your current utilities and pay them through the month that you were there, plus the moving truck, boxes, storage if you have it. It's a lot that adds up. So there's just a lot going on right now with that. And one of the things that I want to do to try to break up the stress and not focus on it so much is just kind of show you guys what I'm going through as I pack everything up, or some of the things that I have that are really cool from hand-me-down gifts and so on. And in between all of that, I have some projects coming up that I want to do to my truck and to my motorcycle that I'm going to document for you as well. And these are things that I'm not just documenting for a random person to look at, but with the automotive and motorcycle communities I'm part of, there's a lot of things that people are afraid to do. For instance, my truck is a 2012 Ford F150, and it's fully loaded, has navigation and all that, but it's a horrible system. So one of the things I've always wanted to do was change it for a better system. And I've been told multiple times by car audio shops and stuff that it's impossible. And if you read most of the forums, they will say that it's impossible because of how everything ties into the dash. My AC controls tie into the radio and so on. So I started looking at converting my truck to the new STync 3 that Ford has out. But while it is possible, it's going to require far more work and expense than I was willing to do. I would have to change out all the wiring in the dash, everything for my, the microphone for the navigation and phone calls and steering wheel controls and a whole bunch of stuff, and body control module. That was the biggest concern for me, is I would have to get a body control module off a 2013 or 2014 F150 and program it to work with my truck with all the new wiring, and cross my fingers and hope that there were no problems. There's also some settings that the STync 3 has for the newer vehicles that were not included in the STync 1, and that could be potentially problematic. I guess there are some things that people haven't been able to get to work. So I didn't want to go through all that. It seemed very expensive. It seemed like too much of a hassle. So just on a whim, because the radio froze up on me on my way to work the other day, and I got a bunch of noise, and I had to pull over, shut the truck off, pull the key out. The radio was still stuck, so I had to pull the fuse for the radio, wait 30 seconds, put the fuse back in, start the truck back up, and reset the radio. I just got tired of it. So I went online and I did a little bit more digging, and I found out that there is a company called iDataLink or Maestro, I believe it's iDataLink, that has a unit called a Maestro RR, and that will tie into my truck and send data to certain head units with a data port availability and show the AC controls and what else does it do? Gauges. Like I can get RPM gauge, boost gauge, voltage, oil pressure, antifreeze, coolant temperature, trans temperature, and so on. I can also get tire pressures for each of my tires, which is currently not available through the factory dash. So I went on to Amazon and I ordered all the stuff to change it out. Now I'm going to show you briefly what the current system looks like. This is the head unit that's currently in the truck. This is the factory deck. This is what they call STync with voice activated navigation, which is a mouthful to say sometimes. It's really not that great, and we'll turn the truck on here and show you here. So you see already, it takes a while to boot up. 9 times out of 10, it will not connect with my phone. And it's pretty basic. It does have navigation, which is slow to respond sometimes. The maps are severely outdated, and it costs about $100 per year for a new DVD of maps, and it takes about a half hour to install them, and there's a potential for the battery to go dead and all that stuff. Anyway, the other day I'm going to work. I was listening through Bluetooth audio, and the radio froze up on me. I lost everything, and I couldn't control my AC, which I was trying to turn down at the time because I had it on defrost to defog my windshield. Did it again. And it was just a pain in the butt. I had to pull over, pull the fuse, let the system reset, and I decided then that it was time to get rid of it. So I ordered a Kenwood DMX 905S head unit, which is just a little bit smaller than this screen that's going to go in here. A lot of people are afraid to touch anything in their vehicles, especially with how integrated that head unit and that dash is. There is a data bus system between the two, and there's things that this could do if they really thought about it, but they just didn't. Being that this was developed by Microsoft, you can just tell in the quality of it, of how wonderful it is. It's slow to respond to everything. It's very basic. It's very buggy. These things really don't do a whole lot. Let's turn on FM radio. It's on HD, so let it take a second because I changed to a very shorty antenna there. You get, with your audio, very basic things. I mean, it does nicely show you the artist, the title. You can change to, one of these you can change to a graphic equalizer. There it is. Or just a static logo. It's not that great, to be honest with you. The STync 2 and the STync 3 are worlds better, but unfortunately without the work mentioned previously, rewiring basically the whole truck and having it programmed very, very, very expensive, it's just not feasible to get those into this vehicle. So I ordered a Kenwood to be here tomorrow that I'm going to install. And I'm going to show how the wiring is done, how the Maestro is programmed, and how everything integrates to help further or future F150 owners that have these units where the screen breaks or the units keep freezing up or something happens and they just don't want it anymore. And they're afraid to pay the car audio guys that could go in there and they say, hey, we'll make a system work for you, and they end up butchering the whole thing. Everything is going to fit nicely into this factory surround because this is a molded hard plastic that is wood grained to match the rest of the King Ranch interior, which is very, very nice, might I add. I'm partial to it myself. But that's about how this is going to start off. So tomorrow I'm going to record the whole installation process, putting the wiring together, putting it into disassembling all of this, putting it in, programming it, and how it all works. I'm also installing two Turbo Smart blow-off valves onto this truck. This is the older EcoBoost, so it does have one blow-off valve per side, and I don't know if we can see this one. This one is right there, right where my index finger is. It's just a little plastic diaphragm. The driver's side one is broken, and I lose boost on that side pretty frequently. It's still drivable, but if I were hauling a heavy load and we're relying on that boost, I would lose it completely on the driver's side bank, and then it's going to throw a code and all sorts of stuff. Bad design by Ford, but we're going to fix it with billet turbos, or billet blow-off valves. So anyway, that's the introduction and hopefully enough information about what my channel is going to be, and I'll get this edited and uploaded and see what the response is, and I'll keep going until I either get tired of it or you get tired of me.